Hi there, everyone. I'm Sarah Biller, the co-organizer of the Boston FinTech Meetup with Denise Johnson, and I'm just thrilled to have an opportunity with our dear friends and partners at MassChallenge FinTech to welcome you to day 3 of a 4-part lunchtime series that we're convening around helping banks build a better tomorrow. I think there's no question in any of our minds that we have just and are living through a catalytic moment. And it shows us and reveals the importance of innovation and the application of FinTech into helping individuals and small businesses, as well as the banks themselves, really serve in a new and different way. Today, we're going to talk to 3 amazing startups around their work to improve data and workflows. We hope you'll be very active with us and offer questions in chat so we can ask the entrepreneurs themselves at the end your questions. But let me turn it over to Devin Sherman to welcome her and then also the entrepreneurs.
Thank you so much, Sarah, and the Boston FinTech Meetup, and thanks everyone for tuning in. I'm Devin Sherman, and I'm the Managing Director of MassChallenge FinTech. Today, as Sarah mentioned, we have our 3rd round of demos where we'll hear from 3 MCFT startups, including Adaptation, Fleego, and Inkit. All of these companies are working really closely with our MCFT banking partners on challenges related to data and workflows. We want to make this as interactive as possible, so definitely use the Q&A feature in Zoom, and we'll follow up with answers at the end of the session. So thanks, everyone, and first up, we have Adaptation.
Hello and welcome. My name is Alex James, the Senior Partner Channel Manager of Innovation at Adaptation. Adaptation is a UX platform that makes simple, beautiful, and intuitive Salesforce.com apps that manage customer, partner, and employee operations built for every step in their process. Today, it's become even more important to find innovative ways to solve business workstream challenges when everyone interfacing with your organization works and interacts remotely. This is why we've created a user experience platform that enables you to solve any business challenge with flexibility and speed. Creating solutions over 16 times faster than the average project, Adaptation allows organizations to unlock data in ways they couldn't before, and each employee making them as efficient as possible with tools built just for them. Guaranteeing success for each end user includes building out an experience that matches their needs. For employees, that would be a streamlined onboarding process for new hires or a laser focus on data integrity, day-to-day responsibilities, and desired outcomes. For customers, an intuitive way to collect data and analyze it where you can make a stronger connection and offer better services and products based on those insights. In the next few minutes, I'm going to jump into Adaptation's UX platform with a focus on the digital whiteboarding tool where all solutions start and are configured to meet the needs of each end user and their unique job to be done. I'll then share an example of what a solution looks like on the other side and how quick and easy it is to make changes as needed, concluding the presentation with some use cases that I think will help the banking and finance industry during this crisis. Welcome to Adaptation's UX platform. Successfully building an app with Adaptation starts with mapping out a desired process and flow of an application. Whether starting out with one of Adaptation's templated app solutions to jumpstart addressing a specific job to be done, or starting from scratch with a new app, you can stand up a low-risk process overnight using our digital whiteboarding tool. Now, as you can tell, you can select a few different options here in terms of what type of app you want to build, whether you're starting from scratch, or if you're going into one of our solutions here, I'll click into our HR template. Each app and process is built out using pages, automation, and workflow rules like we've done in this HR template. Once a desired process is mapped out, you have the ability to determine what data should be seen on each page and decide the look, feel, and what actions can be taken by which users. The bidirectional syncing of data allows data to be created, reviewed, updated, or managed in real time as your business grows and changes. There's also full control over user permission settings and who is allowed to do or see any of the aforementioned actions. Configurations are meant to be made in development before pushing to production in order not to disrupt the normal course of business. Outside of the benefit of using your own business language and taxonomy matched to certain fields and/or objects in your database, each app can stay on brand and give it the look and feel of the organization using it. To note, as we preview this application that's already pre-made as a template within our UX platform, a desired look and experience for a specific job to be done defines an adaptation app. Now, whether you want it to be its own instance, as in this use case, or as an actual app within Salesforce and have it be implemented as a tab through Visualforce and Apex, you have two options. But either way, the user interface and user experience is created and configured using our platform to promote simple, beautiful, and intuitive work streams, whether in Office or accessed remotely. The database connections simply tie into the secure app by matching objects and fields to each part of the process, making employees' jobs and lives easier, data easier to create, view, consume, and analyze. Now, how do you know what tool will be right to use and address a given situation or problem, and how do you guarantee success for your users? With an 80% failure rate for attempted digital transformation, the stakes are very high. Our apps allow you to provide solutions that are guaranteed to work for your users because they can be instantly configured based on their process needs or feedback. With adaptation, you're no longer bound by a one-tool-fits-all mentality or by expensive and time-consuming consultative engagements. The future looks bright for us as our customers lean into us even more to enable remote work for each user's unique interaction with data and process, ensuring happier employees, partners, and ultimately customers. Our product catalog lists our growing options of templated apps for different user types and processes, many of which can easily be applied to address remote work and improve the overall experience of banking and finance. From apps built to support sales and customer service, to innovation or admin and ops tools, employee onboarding, or programming and events, we offer a wide range of solutions that will enhance and enable the impact of how you use, collect, and act on data. Now, how would you use adaptation to solve a new or existing business challenge? Please reach out to me to start a conversation and learn more about our ready-to-install, configurable templates and apps. Thanks so much.
Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for taking the time to learn a little bit about Fligo and what we do and who we are and how we work. My name's Joey Suquette. That's my photo there. That's my pre-quarantine photo. I run strategy and corporate development for Fligo. We're a technology company based in San Francisco, California, with expertise in big data, predictive algorithms, and AI. We've been around for 7 years, so we've managed to build a great team of senior engineers and senior data scientists that came from companies like IBM, Microsoft, and Intel. And we built our solution in collaboration with the MIT Center for Artificial Intelligence Research. So we help financial institutions boost their up and cross-selling revenue with our product and our managed solution, Fligo Sharp AI, which does essentially two things. One, we analyze data that our clients have on their existing customers to understand what products and services those customers are going to need at every moment in their life cycle. And then two, we take those predictions and those recommendations and we actually put them in front of the consumer at the right moment, through the right channel, and with a personalized sales speech. So at a very high level, here's some of our solution features. Obviously, our product recommendation feature, our channel optimization feature, where we're identifying the best channel to make an offer to a particular consumer, whether that's app push notifications or a contact center, whatever the company's using. We're identifying the best time to make outreach. And then again, we're personalizing a sales speech so that sales agents or whatever sales and marketing communication channels the organization is using can actually close a sale with a live customer. And then lastly, I wanted to point out our churn reduction feature, which has become increasingly relevant these past 10, 12 weeks during COVID, where we're analyzing and predicting customers that are going to leave a particular organization, and then recommending actions to retain those customers or retain that revenue. So what does this all look like? If you take a look, this is a snapshot from our dashboard of a real customer, Lisa Miller. If you take a look, there's some very general, basic demographic information, along with a couple of products that we've recommended to offer to Lisa, along with the corresponding probability of purchase, the best channel through which to reach Lisa, the best time to make outreach to Lisa, and then a personalized sales speech to use in order to close Lisa while, in this case, a contact center agent is on the phone with Lisa. And that sales speech is generated from the reasons why we've identified this particular card to be a great match for Lisa. And we're doing this with a variety of different products across different financial institutions. So how does this all work on the back end? We analyze data that our clients have on their customers from a variety of sources, demographic, risk, bureau information, historical transactions. We realize that a lot of companies, especially a lot of big companies, have data in different places, or structured, unstructured, siloed in different places. And so part of every pilot that we do, typically it starts with a process where we're just aggregating some of that information, or at least a basis of some of that information to one place so that we can begin running models. Our solution analyzes that data and runs multiple models in parallel to determine in a very short amount of time, typically 60 to 90 days, what is the best product, time, channel, sales speech, and in many cases, pricing for a particular consumer. Once we have that offer, we plug it back in through your API into your existing sales, marketing, and communication channels. So that 99% of the time, an offer is being made using our prediction, our recommendation, and nobody knows that there's a third-party vendor in the background doing anything. What does this look like with a real customer? So we ran a pilot about a year and a half ago with the top 10 bank in North America. The objective was to increase credit card sales. They gave us 5% of their leads, and in a 90-day period, we were able to improve their overall sales by 21%, which meant for them an extra $19 million of customer lifetime value generated. So needless to say, they were thrilled with the case study result, and now we've expanded that relationship to sell things like insurance products, loan products, and now with this particular use case, we're handling about 80% of their leads. We're doing a lot of really exciting things around COVID. Some of them, coming from existing customers or customers that we were talking, or prospects that we were talking to about potential use cases, and came and said, hey guys, can you work on this? So one of them, it's not financial institutions related, but it's pretty interesting. We're helping a top 5 CPG analyze and predict what newly unemployed Americans and households that have lost one income as a result of COVID, what products will those new consumers buy from this particular CPG, and then taking that analysis one step further and creating offers for that CPG's vendor base that will incorporate different variables like capacity, partial reopening, and what that does to demand and logistics planning. So that's a pilot that we're actively working on right now. We have a couple of others with some large and small banks around predicting default and delinquency, and recommending the right collection action to keep those customers current, and give that bank visibility into probably one of the more unprecedented times in our history. A couple of other banks, we're helping them optimize their digital channels and create personalized offers to shoot out through their digital channels to make up for lost sales from closure of physical retail branches. These were a lot of these customers in particular. This pilot was already on their digital transformation roadmap. COVID just accelerated that dramatically. And then lastly, we're working with one of the larger financial advisory firms in the country and helping them reduce churn by predicting things like when a client will liquidate a certain investment position, close an account, make a significant cash withdrawal or transfer, and recommending different actions to keep that customer's funds in our client's environment. So really interesting work. We're excited about all the pilots that we're running. Would love to engage with each and every one of you. Please don't hesitate to reach out with any questions. And thank you so much for your time.
Hi, I'm Michael McCarthy, and I'm the CEO at Inkit. Inkit is a connected experience layer, or a CEL. What that means is we allow businesses to connect hundreds of different vendors and printers to their digital apps and tools. So let's start with the problem at hand that all financial service companies face today. Pretend I'm a bank. I have to send out critical customer communications. Things like adverse action notices, bills, statements, collection notices, even paperless billing. The way that those processes are currently run inside of my bank is I have teams of people who are pulling files out of my digital apps and tools, meaning I have somebody who's logging into my Salesforce or my FIS and is manually pulling files and sending files off to my paperless generation instance, or they're sending those files off to printers who then are responsible for printing and doing the fulfillment of those paper statements. This whole process right now is extremely complex. It involves multiple handoffs between humans and many times teams of people. All of these things add up to becoming a huge cost center where it's sucking time and lots of human capital. We've seen at even the smallest banks as little as 5 people, and we know that at the largest financial institutions, there's over 100 to 500 people directly responsible for both facilitating the actual sending of these documents, as well as the audit process and the whole trackability process. So what we do at Inkit is we are a saving solution where companies can save money across the board. So how do we do this? What we've done is we've created a seamless automation solution where we allow data to flow from a company's digital systems and tools, meaning your Salesforce, your FIS, etc. We've built an API network where we're able to send that data directly in real time to your different fulfillment providers, whether those are the people that do your billing, your credit cards, your adverse action notices. We've built a seamless highway where that data flows directly to them via API. And here's the ingenuity behind this is we also allow these vendors to then send the data back to your systems so that you now have a two-way data flow. And this is really important because even the biggest banks in the world don't have this two-way data flow where they're sending requests to a third-party vendor, but they're never able to actually know if that item was sent out or even how to track that item so that they can actually prove to regulators that an adverse action notice was sent or a bill was sent or any of these critical customer communications. So we've built a seamless API solution. What this means is we're allowing these businesses to, again, connect all these tools to their different print providers and different vendors. So how does this work? We're a developer-first company where we have APIs that have the ability to both render a PDF. So we have companies that are even using our renderer as a service to basically build out paperless billing functions, as well as render the same document that would get sent to a printer. So while we can help with your printing, we can also do the actual paperless billing service as well too. The second part of our product is we have these, like what we call like a connective tissue layer, where we basically sit in between all of these tools and these vendors, where we allow the data to move back and forth. And that's really our core product. This touches all the different areas of an organization, including marketing, product, compliance, and engineering. And we're gonna get into these some more. So for the marketing team, many times we've seen at large banks, everything is still siloed. The auto team might be sending an auto loan out to Charles, while the consumer banking team might be sending out a consumer notice to Charles. Both teams don't know what the other team is sending because they lack a unified view. When you start to connect all this data through Inkit, now both teams know what is being sent to Charles. Additionally, product has all the data. So in the past, product managers could never determine when a campaign was going to land or when Charles was going to receive his bill or his adverse action notice. A product manager can now make intelligent insights off of the tracking and the data that we send back. So a product manager can now build a connected experience where when Charles gets his onboarding packet for his new checking account, they can layer in a text message using Salesforce and say, hey, Charles, check your front door. You have your welcome package arriving today, creating this Amazon-like experience with offline objects. This is a huge area, compliance. My first job out of school, I worked in US Bank's credit card division, and it would take us 3 to 6 months to prove to regulators that we had sent out adverse action notices. We'd have to go through hundreds of CSV files, and nothing was available to be queried in real time using a SQL query. Using Inkit's API, we can cut out 3 to 6 months on average of just discovery time. And many times we're talking about hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars in savings by being able to actually pull this data in real time and float this data back to the teams that actually need it. Last but not least, we also are a huge saving center for the engineering team. Many times companies are out building custom integrations, which means they then have to go support all of the existing development work. We have one clean API, which means we're managing it all and saving money on both the engineering side for these large companies. So this is just a picture of what the diagram looks like when you have Inkit connected. So what does this actually mean when it comes down to the bottom line? We've talked with top 20 US banks, and what we found is that our solution can offer a 90% savings on what they're doing today. We've also found that at some of the larger banks that we can deliver over $50 million in savings over 10 years. And what this equates to is we can literally save over 25 employees from doing what's a manual process today. This is a huge part of the organization that does not get enough attention, and we are automating the back office and saving companies millions and millions of dollars. There's a few easy ways to get started with Inkit. One is organize your current vendor list. This will help us determine a plan for onboarding because we're able to connect with those existing vendors to provide that data layer in between the digital tools and your existing vendors. Next, you'll want to determine those tools to connect. And then last, you'll want to schedule a call with Inkit so we can get you set up. I'm going to spend the last minute here just giving you a quick background on how our product actually works. So imagine you're this bank and you've sent your customer an adverse action notice. Using the Inkit platform, you can see every single critical customer communication that's ever been sent to that individual. So if Michael McCarthy has had multiple different auto loans and home loans, I can now pull up his customer record, and this is paired with my Salesforce. So I can see every single letter, every single bill, every single item I've ever sent him. All I need to do is just click, and here's the actual document that is pulled up in real time that was sent to Michael. Inkit's solution also provides full tracking. So this becomes super, super beneficial for customer experience, where we can literally show companies where the item is at, just like you would find on your FedEx package. All of this tracking information is available in a real-time API so that a company knows that a compliance letter was sent out. Your general counsel also knows that we did our job and sent out a adverse action letter. All of these things are tracked using our tracking, and you can also start to build experiences on top of them, where, as I mentioned before, suppose this mailer gets to Charles' house today, we can use this tracking data to then send him a text message or an email asking him to check his front door for that welcome packet. So this is a huge, huge value add. I'd like to close with, if there's any additional questions, please feel free to reach out. My email is michael@inkit.com. So again, it's michael@inkit.com. And we're really proud to be helping companies save money and cut costs across the board. So please don't hesitate to reach out. I'm accessible via email. Thanks again.
Wow, Alex, Joey, Michael, thank you so much. In this period of time where all of us are at home. Nice to see you, Joey. There you are. Hey, Sarah. Hey, Alex.
Hey.
Alex grew a beard too. Joey, you're not the only one who has a COVID-19 beard, by the way.
I know.
Yeah. Let's see if Michael's going to join us too. Get him up here for a sec. We're going to run through some good questions that came in. But let me just make a note that you're getting some accolades in the chat room. People were saying great presentations and thank you for what you've done here in the demo. So we'll begin that way. And let's see, there's Michael. Hi, Michael. Nice to see you. You're still, yep,
Nice to see you too.
Cool. Hey, so just wanted to spend a few minutes with the three of you, just diving a little deeper into your solutions. And as I say, as you all were coming on to the stage, if you will, the digital stage, the criticality of the digital environment and the solutions you're offering, particularly today. I kind of kept thinking as you all were going through your demos, you're really delivering data and insight just in time. And I know that's a throwback from our kind of high school accounting days, but I couldn't help but really see the importance of it. And, you know, one of the things that we've been asking all the entrepreneurs, and we'll ask you to kick off, is right now, you know, it's a tough time to implement products, you know, really work with your customers. Can you talk to us about what each of your applications, what it takes for a customer to get up and running and really fully use what you've built? Joey, maybe I see your eyebrow kind of go like this.
Yeah,
so
sure.
I'll go to you first, and then Alex and Michael. Yeah.
Very expressive face. I thought the quarantine beard would cover it up, but I guess not.
Yeah.
No, thank you so much, and thank you for everyone for watching. So typically, pre-COVID, we would send a team of data scientists and engineers on site, on premise to the client. That was our operating model. We loved it because we were able to get close to our clients, sort of get real-time feedback. Yeah. If we had to get data from a particular source, we could physically go over and bug the IT people. And obviously we can't do that now. So just sort of by happenstance, this past December, we ran a completely remote pilot where we were able to install our solution still on-prem, but completely remotely through a secure VPN point. Sorry, I'm just hearing a little bit of background noise. And we've had, we've continued to be able to deploy and have great results. Now it's not the same. I will say that we 100% prefer being able to physically be in the same office with our client in terms of, one of the battles. It's not a battle, but kind of a battle. It's just getting the data, getting the access, and being there with the client. It really helps accelerate that. So that's definitely one thing that we've seen kind of slow down the pilot process a little bit, but we've still been able to deploy even without being able to go to an office.
Yeah, Joey, I appreciate the complexity in which you just kind of simplify down doing it remotely over VPN, building these applications. I might take us to the other end of the spectrum too. Alex, it looks like you've got a platform that enables individuals to build apps remotely and seamlessly. I wonder if you might share a little bit about what you've encountered during this time, and more broadly, how easy is it for your customers to come on board with adaptation?
Yeah, certainly, and thank you. And Joey, Michael, those were great presentations, so appreciate that. And thank you, everybody, for joining. Thanks, Joey. Great beard too, by the way. Looking good. Appreciate that. So typically with our solutions in the library and product catalog that we have available, which is continuing to grow to address a lot of different jobs to be done horizontally across an organization or different business units, you can install that and implement that immediately within 15 minutes to your Salesforce, matching those objects and fields. But typically, if you wanted to start a net new solution or to create an experience that's really unique, or for a use case that most people aren't dealing with, the typical time frame is about 2 weeks to get that up and running. So once you build that process out and understand the work stream and get everybody involved who is a part of that process and what that desired outcome or experience looks like, you can get that done in a very fast time frame. And then once that is brought to a desired point, you can actually share that mobily with your team to get live feedback and get that feedback to make any necessary changes before actually launching that to production. And obviously, as businesses change and grow, and you might have a pandemic here or there completely changing things up, you can make those changes and those configurations on the fly in a matter of seconds to reflect, a SKU that you're taking off or something that you're adding on to the process or experience, just in a matter of seconds. So very easy and simple to work with our success team to continue building those applications and updating them as your organization grows and changes.
Awesome. Alex, thanks for that. Michael, it won't surprise you. We're curious about Inkit as well. How easy is it to get up and going?
Yeah, so just for background, we ran the fastest MassChallenge pilot ever in history. So we were up and running with one of the largest banks in the program in under 2 weeks. So from an implementation side, it's around 2 weeks to actually set this up. In fact, it probably would have been about a week, but we were just waiting on a couple of test documents. That said, really, it just takes a company who wants to have savings and is interested in actually cutting costs across the board. So if there's a company that, especially right now, is like looking to make improvements to how they automate things, and especially like cost savings, whether that's human capital or just time savings, then we're a really good solution and it can be up and running really quickly. So.
Yeah, very cool. Michael, just kind of sticking with you for a minute, and then we'll kind of go back through in our speed to implement these applications and get people up and running and really help our financial services industry. There was a question around security levels as each of you are transmitting a lot of information back and forth. And Michael, the one question that was asked specifically to you, but I am curious as we enter into this new digital world, what it's like, the experience for each of you. What bank level security do you have in place when you're transmitting data?
Yeah, so for our company in particular, since we got going with this logistics layer, address data is actually considered PII to begin with. So from the very initial get-go when we were starting our company, we had to build that in basically like out of the box. Security was still is our number one focus. So we are HIPAA compliant. We work with healthcare companies. We also work with large Fortune 500s like Procter and Gamble. So we are, certainly very well equipped, if not, more equipped than many of the other vendors that banks even work with today from a security side. So all of our data is encrypted at rest. It's we just use best practices across the board.
Yeah, very cool, Michael. Thank you. I do want to circle back because that's the second time we've heard a CPG company being mentioned, and the intersection. Joey, you mentioned it. Between financial services and fintech. Before we go there, can I just circle up with you all? Give Alex and Joey you a chance too to talk about security and the transmission of information or application. Joey, that's more relevant for you at Fligo. How are we thinking as we're almost emerging out of this wholly digital world, what the transmission of information looks like and how we secure it?
Yeah, sure. So typically, like everyone else, we try to employ the highest security and governance standards, and I have a lot of technical documentation and security documentation that someone that was much smarter than I am wrote for us. And likewise, we work with a lot of different healthcare companies analyzing electronic medical and health records. So typically, when we try to determine the feasibility of a project, we'll get an anonymized data set to run some preliminary models on, kind of show value, and then we sort of move on from there. Something that's sort of different, not that different about us, but we're not actually, interfacing with the consumer. So we're not extracting any information from the client. We sort of go beyond their firewall to install. And so things like, GDPR, if one of their customers has said, hey, I don't want you to use my data to market specific products to me because I just don't want you to have my information, then we just sort of discard them from the targeting set and don't even touch that person.
Yeah, very good. Thank you. Alex, how about your world and security?
So yeah, we're in the same boat as Joey and Michael, and high security parameters and everything that we're doing with Salesforce and any other data sets, we're abiding by their security model. So we don't actually store any data on our servers at all, and we're abiding by everything that Salesforce does, and they're very well known for having the best and most secure CRM as well. So we're just abiding by that security model. And with the bidirectional sync of data, and excuse my calendar for popping up here, we were able to make sure that everything is 100% secure. So we have those InfoSec documentations pieces in place with multiple pages on that entire background. And as Joey said, people with that are much smarter than me have put this together for us in making sure that we're fully secure with all of our apps and every data set that we're connecting to with our APIs. So everything is 100% secure. Security parameters can be set up in place with some of our customers here, like working with PaySafe and in talks with MassMutual, Comcast, and MITRE and their bridging innovation team. They have the ability to make sure that we're only seeing what they want us to see, and having that set up prior to our engagements. So making sure that we cross all of our T's, dot all of our I's when it comes to security.
Yeah, very good. I don't think I would have expected you to say anything less, Alex, but I'm glad you reinforced it, because it really leads us into this discussion of how each of you are unlocking value in data, the strategic capabilities you have, and of course the big vision that you've brought in each of your different companies. And I wonder if you might just kind of give us a, almost like a lightning round of what differentiates your ability to manage these big pools of data in ways, or information that help the institutions cross-sell or upsell or achieve their outcomes, perhaps with efficiencies, Michael, as you stressed. Kind of give us what differentiates you from other like entities. And then we've got a specific question coming in about how you're helping during COVID. So that we'll go to that last question. But Michael, maybe we go to you first.
Sure. Yes.
Yeah.
So I'd like to just to really, like to start with a story. So my first job out of school was working at US Bank. Yeah. And I hope there's nobody from US Bank on this phone call. But one of the things that would happen all the time is the home mortgage team might be sending out a foreclosure notice to a customer. And inside the credit card department, we might be extending that same customer a line of credit offer. So if you think about that, it doesn't really make sense. We're foreclosing on your home, yet we're giving you a $100,000, credit card line of credit offer, or a personal loan line of credit offer. So really what we found was that there was this huge disconnect between each one of the different business units, where each part of the bank worked with different vendors, different procurement processes, et cetera. So the bank never, US Bank in this case, never actually knew what a given customer was receiving. And that led to a lot of, unfortunate consequences. One being that you had a really disjointed customer experience. I mean, how embarrassing is it that your home is getting foreclosed on and you're also getting a personal line of credit offer? It, doesn't really make sense. Second is we would get audited all the time by FINRA. And that audit process would cost the bank 3 to 6 months to actually go put a team of people together that would literally manually go through files and files of Excel sheets to figure out, did we send everybody this adverse action notice, or did we send everybody, XYZ? So really, by and large, we like to view our solution as a huge savings tool, whether that's savings comes through customer experience or operations or compliance, or even, things like e-discovery, where if a consumer, God forbid, sues the bank, well, we now can provide a complete audit record of every physical document or every document that was sent out to that consumer. And right now that data just, isn't there, or if it is there, it's going to take a bank months and months and lots of people to actually go find that information. So yeah, we see millions and millions of dollars of savings every year, just with banks that we work with. So
wonderful. Thank you for that. Joey?
Sure.
So on the one side, there are a lot of companies, a lot of platform companies that sell directly to tech teams at financial institutions where they can build models themselves. There are a few of those. I think we all, if you're on this call, you probably know all of them. And then on the other side, they're on the totally opposite end are management consultancies that sell digital transformation packages, identify the roadmap for all, AI, robotics, 3D printing initiatives, all these different exponential technologies and how they will affect your business. I think where we sit is somewhere in the middle. We're a managed solution, so we're not going in and selling to a tech team. We're saying to a prospect or a client that has invested in a data science team, and we're saying to them, hey, your data science team probably has 1,000 different initiatives that they want to work on, from fraud to compliance to KYC. Why don't you give us a couple of those initiatives and we'll focus on just that. We'll do all the heavy lifting, we'll extract the information, we'll run our models, and we'll actually send our predictions to production with live customers so we can actually see the result in a very short amount of time. And we manage that whole process. So I think that's where, where on the one side, we're not quite a platform. On the other side, we're not quite a consultant.
Got it. Thank you. Alex.
So when you're talking about CRMs and databases like Salesforce or Microsoft Dynamics, typically when companies or organizations are building within those, they have only so much ability to build what they're looking for an experience, because these databases and these CRMs are built for everybody and not for anybody in particular. So when you add things like apps from the App Exchange or different SaaS tools, or you're working with consultants to make it more of an experience for just for you, or just for whichever business unit or team or end user, you're really actually building a monolith and limiting your functionality and ability to work quickly and flexibly. So what we're doing actually is separating and unlocking the codependency that the database has on the user interface and vice versa. So we're actually taking microservices and building on top of Salesforce and other data sets and pulling only the information and the data that is needed for that specific end user. So then you actually have the ability to build an experience and an interface that works for every different end user and whatever desired outcome that you're trying to do, whether that's for a customer success rep, if you're trying to provide next best actions for those customer success reps, or provide a guided experience for customers, or even working with call centers. There's always a different experience that they're looking to have, and we can help build that for you and with you if we don't already have it in our library of solutions.
Alex, thank you. You've hit on, we had this really good question from a good friend of the Boston FinTech community, David Frankel, and he asked sort of what's the big bang for the end customer here? And I have to say all of you touched on that. And so I hope he'll take that to heart, that you've really touched on what's most impactful or can be impactful for your customers. The last question I think is one that is very interesting, and it came in around the use of bank, where you can help banks as we go through sort of a massive levering, and where the loan portfolios are getting crushed. And of course, that's a broad statement, right? And I just really, the question here is, are any of your firms positioned to help banks project or estimate massive financial changes sooner? And two, formulate specific borrower customized strategies that mitigate the financial consequences of and reflecting the COVID economy going forward. And I might just want to broaden that question to make it applicable to each of you, because Joey, I think you have an answer, but Alex and Michael, you might not say, are any of your firms positioned to help banks? But I might change that question and say, how are your firms positioned to help banks as we go through sort of another negative credit cycle? So Joey, why don't we start with you? And this will be our last question, and then we'll turn it over to Devin.
Sure. So we're running a couple of different pilots on this specific case, more on the consumer level. So these are small. One of the clients is a small bank that traditionally has seen a very low default rate, both in their consumer loan business and their small business loan and commercial business loan business. And they're getting ready for a record level of defaults. So part of our project right now is we're analyzing their customer database and classifying them into levels of risk of default. And then we're starting to work with the organization to recommend appropriate collection or retention actions. Now, to your question, traditionally, we look at historical behavior, because of course that's a great indicator of what's going to happen in the future. Well, not so much, because this is unprecedented. So what we've started talking about, as we expand the pilot, is in the beginning, we're going to be analyzing a lot of data that they already have on their customers, et cetera, et cetera. We're going to try a couple of different retention actions when those, first defaults begin to happen. As we progress, one of our goals is to begin to bring in third-party data sources that will hopefully build almost a more macro view of the economy, like a macro macro data lake version of the economy almost.
Yep.
You know, it's a lofty goal, and to your point, can we do that overnight and do it before all of the defaults start happening? Probably not, but it's something that we're working on.
Joey, thank you. Alex, Michael, any response to that question about how you're helping or could potentially help banks during this credit cycle?
Yeah, I had touched upon a couple of different use cases with like the call centers and customer success reps and providing next best actions. And I know as the climate changes, those next best actions are going to change with them. So really creating transparency around the different data sets that are available to banks and financial institutions, being able to pull the right information and aggregate that into a clear way to analyze that information in order to move forward and take the next, best actions moving forward for that bank, I think are very important. So I'll let Michael round out that question there for me.
Yeah, so it's really high level. Our Inkit doesn't do anything to necessarily impact this question particularly. We're not going to be able to help you. We're not going to be able to help a bank better look at their loan portfolios or figure out what loan portfolios are defaulting. However, what we are uniquely positioned to do is as rates go to zero and potentially even negative, banks are really in a quandary, which is they're making less money on loans. They also now have more risk in their loan portfolios because of the pandemic. So all focus really needs to shift to how do we save cost inside of the bank, and what kind of savings can we derive by doing these same processes with less people and just faster, quicker, better, cheaper. So where our solution comes in is, after we ran our pilot with Citizens Bank, we're able to prove out, and our stakeholders, at Citizens Bank, for instance, are able to show millions and millions of dollars in cost savings. So, banks again need to start looking towards solutions for the savings aspect in order to actually be able to offset the less money that they're going to make on their loan portfolios, et cetera. So banks again just need to become quicker, faster, better, more efficient with their resources. And that's what we're well positioned to do at Inkit.
Yeah, Michael, thank you. I think they're all robust solutions, and I've appreciated so much, as have all the attendees, a chance to talk to you, learn more about your solutions. And let me turn it over to Devin to extend her thanks and say goodbye.
Great. Thank you so much, Sarah, and the Boston FinTech Meetup. Shout out to Alex, Joey, and Michael for the demos, and thanks everyone for joining. If you have any additional questions, you can reach out directly to the panelists or to our team at fintech@masschallenge.org, and we'll connect you. Hope to see you again tomorrow for our last demo series on customer experience. Thanks again, everyone.